Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally opening. Elon Musk's legendary loop system.
This is the underground network he envisions. Electric cars using street-level elevators to drop down into a series of tunnels.
Incredible if you could travel around LA, New York, DC, Chicago, Paris, London, anywhere at 150 miles an hour.
Autonomous technology in the cars ensure that they don't run into each other, despite going speeds of over 125 miles
at about 30 miles per hour.
Over 125 miles an hour.
Pods traveling at up to 150 miles per hour in futuristic tubes. Disruptive technology that will revolutionize transport as we know it, allowing us to have as many private cars as we want without having to resort to known working solutions like public transport.
Tunnels are, in my view, the only solution to urban congestion. We have a 2D road network and we have buildings in 3D. And everyone wants to pile out of those buildings and into those buildings at the same time. Obviously, you're going to have a traffic jam.
Yes, which is why most decent-sized cities have a functioning mass transport system. Because if everyone took their cars into work, just storing the cars would take up too much bloody space. It's not really a question of whether you can build a transport system that can move lots of cars into the middle of the city or not. I mean, even if you could do it, where are you going to park all those cars?
I'm confident this can revolutionize cities and get rid of soul-destroying traffic.
Yes, it's just going to mean that you get 10 times as many cars into the middle of the city with no more places to park them. Genius.
The first loop will be in Las Vegas, built for the massive convention center, which hosts the Consumer Electronics Show every January.
Yes, that's it. It's almost here. I can feel it. The one that Elon Musk said was going to go 155 miles per hour. And now, finally, it's being revealed. Prepare to be amazed.
Hey there, Shep. Well, as you descend the escalator into the loop station, you see the Teslas waiting to whisk you into a tunnel 43 feet below ground. Now, you might think, all right, it's like a subway. But this is more like a highway underground.
Wow, incredible. A highway underground. You mean like, a tunnel?
The Teslas will be manned by drivers for now, transporting passengers 40 feet underground at about 30 miles per hour.
And because it's Las Vegas, this is also a thrill ride.
Yes, I can see the thrill seekers now flocking to Las Vegas to say, I experienced the taxi ride in a car, in a tunnel at 30 miles an hour.
I mean, you can think of these like wormholes. Like, I need to get to the other side of LA or New York or whatever, drop down the wormhole, pop out the other side.
Yes, tech billionaire genius wormhole travel might not quite be as fast as advertised in the movies.
The Las Vegas Convention Center loop is part thrill ride, part light and sound show.
Leading to some truly epic responses on Twitter like this. This is the final line in the sand. Apologists for this farce are beyond saving. Elon built Autopia underground and added RGB lights. Yeah, that's about right. To which the response comes in, a track. What a novel idea. I can't wait for Elon Musk to come up with the truly brilliant idea of adding tracks to his loop system.
The Las Vegas Convention Center loop is part thrill ride, part light and sound show.
With some LED lights. It was the greatest experience of my life.
We think it is going to be an attraction for Vegas for a while, in addition to just being a transportation system. People are going to want to come and experience that.
H-bomber guy. Think trains, only slower. You need a car to use it, and it costs $700 billion. Yeah, a little hyperbole, but more or less on point. It's like a regular taxi that smoked too much dope, or an entire underground system that runs on Ambien, maybe? No, hang on, let me correct that. Not just Ambien, but Ambien and LSD combined, maybe? And if you want the apex of delusion, Owen Sparks, who is a Tesla shareholder, replies, completely inaccurate. Subway speed is 65 miles per hour max. Boring loop speed 150 miles per hour max.
Transporting passengers 40 feet underground at about 30 miles per hour.
Now there'll be people out there say, hang on, isn't that exactly the number you predicted some 4 months ago? While the Elon Musk fans were saying that you're just really jealous of Elon Musk because he's rich and he's going to be running pods at 150 miles per hour through this loop system, and you're just some neo-Luddite who can't handle change. Let's take a quick look what I said 4 months ago, shall we? This corner here is going to be very slow. It's going to be like 30, 40 miles per hour tops, that sort of thing.
You can imagine how much it hurts me to use the word infallible.
Oh, come on, nobody's infallible.
All right, then he's not infallible. It's just that up to now, he has never failed.
And you'll be happy to know that the comeback from the Elon Musk fans at that point was, no, you're still just a neo-Luddite. I mean, this is so much better than running trains through these things. I mean, if you're running trains through these things, the best speed that you could hope to get is,
If this was done with a train, for example, and I'm going to come on to trains in a moment, the top speed in the system would be around 30, 35 miles per hour. Maybe 38 miles per hour at best.
Transporting passengers 40 feet underground at about 30 miles per hour.
The system operates like an Uber or a Lyft, where you have an app on your phone, you say, I'm here, I want to go there, car comes up, has an identifier on it that matches with what is on the app on your phone.
Which is funny because Gizmodo uploaded an article yesterday saying Elon Musk's public transit in Las Vegas is still just humans driving slowly in a tunnel. And they actually have on that, but it doesn't look like much of anything is automated anymore. You even have to tell a human driver where you want to go. The Boring Company uploaded a video to Vimeo with instructions for the Las Vegas loop with precisely those instructions. 1. Get in a car. 2. Tell the driver where you're going, West Station or South Station 3. That's it. At which point, seriously, aren't those the instructions for using a taxi? But the even weirder thing is, if I go to Vimeo, I find, oh, that page doesn't exist anymore. Although, curiously, if I do a search for that on the images, the thumbnail is still there. Although if I click on it, nah. But no, it was definitely uploaded by the Boring Company. Yeah. Then, of course, you've got the Tesla fans saying the first video of the Boring Company's working Las Vegas Convention Center loop in action emerge. With such great replies as, can't wait for this new underground transit system to transform the city. Yeah. Or, using the driver is disappointing. If you can't make autopilot work in a closed course, what hope is there for a full self-driving in the foreseeable future? And he's kind of got a point. You know, if you can't make it work in a closed loop system like this, how are you going to make it work in the real world? Now, you might be wondering why this amazing futuristic transport system is rocketing around at 35 miles per hour. Well, I'll tell you, it's bottlenecked fundamentally by the speed at which you can load and unload cars. Yeah, I mean, if the best you can load and unload a car is about a minute, well, that means you're loading and unloading 4 people per minute. That's the absolute maximum number of people you can transport, even if the cars travel at the speed of light between the stations. So the absolute maximum number of people this system can carry, irrespective of how fast the pods go in the tunnel, is about 240 people per bay per hour. And you've got 5 bays going in one direction, so the absolute maximum number of people the station can transport in one direction is about 1,000. Now I'm going to compare Musk's system to a completely brand new futuristic proposition I've got called the Boop system. The Boop system relies on custom-made pods that look exactly like bendy buses, but work in a vacuum to completely eliminate air resistance. And on top of that, they all move in a completely automated fashion on hoverboards, all at over 700 miles per hour. It's just we've not quite worked out how to do the vacuum system, the hoverboards, or the automation. But I want to stress this is a completely brand new concept that is completely different from a bus route because we've got multicolored LEDs on it. So bendy buses carry about 100 people, and the load and unload time for a bendy bus is about a minute, because they've got lots of doors for easy access, that sort of thing. And let's say it travels much more slowly than the 35 mile per hour that the Hyperloop or Loop is rocketing around at. Yeah, I don't think that speed's going to be a significant factor in this calculation, given that the drive time between the two ends of the Loop system is only clocked at about 4 minutes anyway. Well, let's say we're going to get 10 buses leaving per hour. That's one every 6 or so minutes. That's going to transport, 1,000 or so people per hour. Wow, that's exactly the same as the Elon Musk Loop system. But what about costs? Well, for Elon Musk's system to move 1,000 or so people out of this station will require some 60 drivers and some 60 cars.
With 62 cars right now with drivers.
Now, if those cars are Model 3s, well, entry price there is just under $40,000, so you're looking at about just under $2.5 million for the rolling stock. And if they go for the Model X, the entry price there is about $90,000, so more or less double that for the rolling stock, getting up for $5 million, that sort of thing. Meanwhile, if we were to do this with bendy buses, well, we're only running 6 per hour, so they're going to take about 5 minutes to move between stations, so we basically only need 1 per station. With bendy buses costing somewhere between $100-ish thousand up to about $600-ish thousand. So here we're looking at a spread of 4 of those costing somewhere between $500,000 and $2.5 million. So it's expected that the buses will be significantly cheaper in terms of the actual vehicles required. But whatever, let's call this a wash, because it's instantly obvious that for 60 Teslas, you're going to need 60 drivers. Whereas for 4 buses, you will only need 4 drivers, meaning that the running costs will be 15 times lower to run the buses than to drive the Teslas. Then, of course, Elon Musk's solution required $60 million of tunnels to be dug.
Construction on this loop was completed in 2 years for a cost of less than $53 million.
Remind me again how many bendy buses you could have bought for $53 million. And that's ignoring the fact that the buses you could have had up and running almost instantly, whilst you had to wait 2 years for them to dig the tunnel for the loop. So tell me, Elon Musk fans, what kind of genius is it who takes a problem that can be perfectly solved with 4 bendy buses and says, you know what would make this idea much better would be to spend $50 million extra and take 2 years to create a system that costs 10 times more to run and is much more dangerous to run. Car crashes in tunnels and all that sort of thing. Now, I'm sure there'll be some people who say, yeah, but once they get the automation working and they get all these futuristic pods in there, it'll be much better. Yeah, right. And once the Boop runs on hoverboards at 600 miles per hour, that'll be much better too. No, really, it's all happening in the next upgrade. Look, these vehicles have been pimped out since Musk first started seeing if people could distinguish the difference between computer animations and reality. They were cancelled almost immediately, with Musk saying that now it was just going to be Teslas in tunnels, which he assured people was far more profound than it sounded. No. No, it isn't, and never was. I mean, honestly, for these sorts of speeds, you would be way better off getting some of those little novelty trains that they get to move people around parks and zoos. But hey, a cynical man might say, this isn't and never was about building an efficient transport system. It's about selling Teslas, and convincing governments not to put their money into proven solutions for mass transport in cities, but into high-tech futuristic plans with LEDs that only cost 10 times more to run. And even at that, all of the Elon Musk fans are still like...
Look, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, D.C. to Baltimore, hey, Los Angeles to Las Vegas. All of this is under consideration for a loop. In Las Vegas, more than 40 destinations have raised their hands saying, yep, we want a station, we'll build it.
Yeah. And so on that happy and reassuring note for the future of mankind, if you enjoyed this video, why not live a little and drop a thumbs up on it, and subscribe if you don't want to miss out on more great videos like this one. And as ever, if you really enjoyed this video and want to support this channel directly, you can do it through Patreon. And thanks for watching.